Hearing everybody's stories here today, water is life and water is super important to protect and preserve. Here in Canada, I've known about racist acts such as the Indian Act, which dictates what we can and cannot do as Indigenous people here on our own land, including First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. And water is a huge problem within our nation. 74% of Indigenous nations do not have access to clean drinking water. And I thought that only happened within our borders here in Canada. And I am completely appalled to learn about the destructions that are happening in other countries to Indigenous people across the world at the hands of the Canadian government and institutions and industries. Canada is known for its representation of being a peacemaker in a country full of love and one of the greatest places on earth. And I have to say it is if you're a non-Indigenous person. To be on the other side of the spectrum is not quite the same story. It's really devastating to know what the government can do to Indigenous nations. Canada also implemented UNDRIP, the United Nations Declaration of Indigenous People. It was passed by the federal government, but it's the provincial governments that dictate what we do on our own lands, and they do not adapt that policy. So, I also have a premier in Saskatchewan who just pre-approved all pipelines that want to be developed within Saskatchewan. So that just goes to show how much of a facade that Canada is upholding when it comes to human rights and human justice. And they really need to be held accountable, all forms of government, all industry and business leaders. They're committing cultural genocide all across the world. I knew about it here in my own country with my ancestors and all the Indigenous people that had cultural genocide imposed on them. And how this is happening is because our connection to the land, we're not just stewards of the land, it's also embedded, these teachings are embedded in our songs, in our languages, in our culture, in our traditions. We are part of the land and we always known that. And I'd like to recognize that humanity, especially Canada, is in the breach of the original treaty. Canada was created because of treaties with the Indigenous nations. And we all have a treaty with the original creation of all forms of life. So that's the four-winged, the two-legged, the four-legged, the winged, and the gilled. All the minerals, all the elements in the world. This is our treaty to help preserve and protect everything that's associated with Mother Earth. And it's our due diligence to make sure that we are looking after these for the future generations to come after us. And I want to acknowledge the devastating effects, everything that you've experienced, all the witnesses, testimonies, and real life experiences, that you are not alone in this fight, and we're here standing with you, and we support you, and we'll do everything in our power to make sure that you get justice for what you need to do. So with that, I'd like to say thank you for listening to me. Hi, egose.